Okay, let's begin in a comfortable seated position. If you like, you can put a block right underneath your hips, just to put those two sits bones right on the edge of the block. It should feel nice and comfortable. That helps you to get the spine tall. You can just gently place the hands on the knees and just feel into your upper body. Maybe do a few shoulder rolls, going backwards, and a couple shoulder rolls, moving forward. Good. And then let's go ahead and keeping the shoulders level, we're going to drop one ear over to the side, just opening up the neck, and then lift the head back into center and drop the opposite ear over to the opposite side. Good. Coming back to center, go ahead and inhale. Your arm up and over, just opening the side of the body. And then come back to center. Inhale the opposite arm up and over. And come back to center. Good. Go ahead and bring the right arm across your body, touching the left knee. Just give yourself a very gentle spinal twist, looking over the left shoulder. You can use that left hand behind you on the floor to just stabilize, keeping the spine tall, and release. We're going to come back to center, and then we'll come over to the other side. So go ahead and reach across, left hand to the right knee. Right hand goes behind you. Inhale nice and tall, and then look over the right shoulder, using your hands as leverage to just loosen up the spine. Good. Come back into center. Go ahead and bring the palms together at heart center. Bring the thumbs right to the middle of the chest. And then just gently close the eyes for a moment and feel into your body and just notice how you are today. Preparing yourself for your practice, just doing a little bit of a check-in. Notice how the body feels. Notice how your emotions are. Just feeling into what happened through the day, how your mood is. And then notice the state of your mind. Is it relatively quiet? Or is there a lot of activity? No judgment, no need to change anything, just noticing in a space of acceptance and acknowledgement. And let's begin. Go ahead and release the hands down. Lean forward. We're going to move that block out from under the hips. And then we're going to come over, keep the block handy. We're going to come over onto our side, laying down all the way on the side. And once you're down, we're going to roll over onto the back and we're going to move into supported bridge. So from here, go ahead and bend the knees, have the feet, soles of the feet on the earth. And then you're just going to inhale and lift the hips up and slide that block right underneath your sacrum. That's the triangular shaped bone at the bottom of the spine. And if you get it in the right place, it should feel really good. So if you're up too high, it's going to be digging into the low back, which is not ideal. If it's too low, then you might feel like you're going to slip off of it. So adjust it, get it in a nice comfortable place, and then from here, go ahead and turn the palms up toward the sky, keeping the feet planted on the earth. Go ahead and close your eyes and just begin to observe your breath. Without changing anything, direct the breath through the nose, keeping the lips together, and just notice how your breath is all on its own naturally. And on your next inhalation, we're going to begin to deepen the breath, allowing the belly to rise up towards the sky and expand the rib cage. And on the exhalation, everything sinks back toward the earth. Continuing in your own timing, see how smooth you can make the breath. So the inhalation, nice and even. A slight pause at the top of the inhalation. And then when you exhale, see if you can make it just as smooth and as even. Notice if there's any sticky spots or jumpy spots, just having the intention to smooth those over as you gently deepen the breath, each inhalation just a little bit deeper, a little bit fuller than the one before. And on your next exhalation, when all the air is out, see if you can just squeeze a little bit more, wringing out any old stale air, preparing to breathe in another full breath of fresh oxygen, fresh energy into your body. Notice this spherical breath where not only is the belly rising up towards the sky, but also the ribs are expanding in all directions, to the sides, to the front and the back. Nice, deep and full breaths. And then the sphere shrinks on the exhalation, everything contracting back down to the center. And as you continue to breathe, slowing the breath down, have the intention on the inhalation to draw all of your life currents back to you. Throughout the day, we can have our attention scattered. Our mind can be in one place and our body in another, and the emotions can be in different places, attached and connected to different things. So just as you inhale, draw all of those life currents back to you, detaching from all of the people and places and things, letting everything go, and really bringing yourself fully and wholly into your core, onto your mat, connecting the mind with the breath to the body. On the next inhalation, we're going to press into the soles of the feet, lifting the hips up slightly. Go ahead and slide that block off to the side. And on the exhale, roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time. It may take more than one breath. And when the hips reach the mat, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest, wrapping your arms around the shins, giving a nice little squeeze. You can even lift the head and the forehead and just squeeze yourself into a little ball, and then bring the head and shoulders back down to the mat. And just rock side to side, going across the back of the body. You can play with hugging the knees in close to your chest, or holding on to the tops of the knees, allowing the arms to straighten and allow the legs to fall away from the torso, rocking back and forth on the hips. Notice that the placement of the knees affects where you feel this little massage across the back of the body. Continuing to breathe through the nose. Go ahead and allow the right leg to go long as you hug the left knee in toward the left shoulder. Hands can be clasped across the shin, and then just glide the legs side to side in toward the midline and then out toward the side of the body. Just feeling into that hip. You can do a few ankle rolls on that left ankle. And then come into center and just hold, relaxing the right leg completely. Leg is long and easy. Hugging that left knee into the left shoulder, giving it a nice squeeze as you continue to breathe. On your next inhalation, go ahead and gently release the leg. Allow the left leg to go long. And pause here for a moment with both legs outstretched and just feel into both sides. And then go ahead and inhale the right knee up. Clasp the fingers around the shin. And then start to go side to side as you squeeze that leg into your body, gliding left to right, in toward the midline, out toward the outside. Just opening up the hip, nice and gentle. And then just come right into center and hug that knee in toward the shoulder. Coming back to the breath, eyes can be opened or closed, however you like. You can do a few ankle rolls. That right foot, maybe switch directions. And then gently release that leg, allow it to go long. Inhale the arms up over the body and point the toes and stretch the arms all the way up, getting a nice full body stretch. Point the toes, reach with the arms, and then release. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet back to the earth. And we're going to lift the legs up and go ahead and reach behind the legs. You can grab onto your pants or reach behind the thighs. We're just going to lift the feet up toward the sky and begin to flatten the feet. So you're pulling the toes back towards your shins and pressing through the heels. It's fine if the knees are not straight. Just go to where you feel an opening and stretching of the backs of the legs. You can use your hands to hold the legs in place. And you're probably also engaging the abs a little bit. And engaging the fronts of the thighs, the quads. Straightening the legs a little bit more, pulling the toes back, pressing through the heels. And then we're going to release the feet down just halfway. So the knees are now at a 90-degree angle. Knees are above hips. Shins are parallel to the floor. So you're making just a nice little box shape here. And notice just to hold the legs here is requiring a little bit of work in your abs. So feel that. And then we're going to inhale the arms up above the head. Backs of the hands reach the earth. And then we're going to exhale, sweeping the arms all the way through till the palms come to the earth by the hips. Again, inhale the arms up. Get a nice reach, and then exhale the arms down by the hips, pressing the palms toward the earth. Let's do that one more time. As you inhale, you sort of release and relax the belly. And then as you exhale, press the low back into the mat, engaging the core, engaging your belly. Continuing with your own breath, on the inhale, the arms go up. And on the exhale, we're pressing the navel toward the spine, pressing the low back into the mat. Inhaling up. And the next time you exhale, go ahead and curl the head and the shoulders up off the mat, pressing the low back into the mat. And then you're going to inhale and release the belly, release the head and shoulders to the mat. Again, exhale, curling up. You can slightly bend the elbows to encourage the upper body to come up off the mat. And on the exhale, releasing the belly, releasing the head and shoulders back to the earth. Again, exhaling, pressing that low back, engaging the core, reach through the fingertips. And Relax back on the inhale. Let's do 2 more. Squeezing, exhaling, lifting up, reach through the fingertips. Inhale, arms come back, relax the belly. And one more time, bend the elbows, curl the upper body up, hold here, squeeze, squeeze, reach the fingertips, and then release the feet and the arms and the head, and just relax here for a moment. You can bring your palms to your belly and just stack hand on top of hand. Then go ahead and step the feet wide, about as wide as your mat. And we're just going to begin to rock the knees left to right, kind of like a windshield wiper. Just loosening up the belly. And when your knee dips into the center, see if you can really encourage that inner knee down toward the mat. The outer knee can just kind of fall open, but the inner knee, the one that's hovering over the mat, just press it down toward the mat to encourage a little bit more of an opening through the spine and through those hips. Good. Now coming back into center, go ahead and hug those knees up again in toward your torso. And this time we're going to reach to the inside and allow the legs to fall open. So you're using your hands to hold the legs up. You're reaching your fingertips around the top of that shin bone. Do a few ankle rolls here, just going in one direction a few times, and then reverse the direction. And then you can play with bending your elbows, bringing the knees up closer toward the armpits, and then straightening the arms, allowing the knees to fall away from the body. Continuing to breathe through the nose. Let's do that a few times. Pulling the knees up, and then allowing them to go away from the body. Just opening up the inner thigh. And then you can also play with extending one leg long as you hold on to the inner thigh, just straightening one leg at a time. Do the other side. Just feeling into those inner thighs. Good. Go ahead and bring the legs together. Give yourself a nice squeeze and then reach behind underneath the knees around the backs of the thighs. We're going to begin to rock back and forth across the spine. Now, if you have a sensitive spine, you may want to put a blanket underneath, just a cushion there. And we're eventually going to rock all the way up to a seated position. Good. Once you're there, we're going to come over into tabletop on hands and knees. Hands are directly underneath the shoulders, knees are directly underneath the hips. Hands are flat and wide, nice and wide like starfish. And then from here, take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, tuck the tailbone under and then tuck the chin, pressing the earth away from you, rounding the spine. And then on the inhale, tailbone goes up, belly drops, head and chest come forward. Again, on the exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the spine, pressing the earth away from you. And on the inhale, dropping the belly, tailbone goes up, head and chest go forward. So just do this a few times in your own breath, and you may wish to pause in one or the other for a few breaths, just feeling your way into these two shapes, getting a nice wave through the spine. So the movement actually initiates with the tailbone. Well, in truth, it initiates with the breath. So the breath starts, then the tailbone, and then the wave goes all the way up the spine to the top of the head. Good. Go ahead and come into neutral. We're going to bring the left hand and place it in the center of the mat, and we're going to inhale the right arm up, opening the upper part of the shoulders. And then we're going to exhale, we're going to thread that through behind the left arm and come all the way down onto that shoulder. You can rest your head on the mat, looking to the side, Hips are basically over the knees. Your left hand can be on the earth to help stabilize you, and just breathe here, opening up the upper back and the shoulders. On the next inhalation, slowly come back up to that tabletop, reset yourself, and then we're going to place the right hand into the center. And this time, inhale the left arm up, getting a nice opening, stacking the shoulders on top of each other. And then we're going to thread that hand through, coming behind the right arm all the way down onto that shoulder. The right hand can stabilize you here. And come back to the breath. On the next inhalation, coming back to all fours, and we're just going to widen the knees about as wide as the width of the mat. Bring the toes together, and then we're going to press the hips back towards the heels to come to a child's pose. Go ahead and extend the arms long out in front of you and place the forehead on the mat. If your forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can always place a block there and then rest the forehead on the block. Just take a moment here. And then on the next inhalation, we're going to come back up to all fours to that tabletop. And now go ahead and grab onto your blocks. We're going to begin to do a low lunge. And it's really helpful to use the blocks. You can use them in the medium setting or even the tall setting. So from here, we're just going to rock forward and then bring the weight onto the right knee as you bring the left foot in front of you. Now, if you have sensitive knees, you can fold a blanket or a towel underneath that knee that's bearing the weight. From here, you're just going to use the blocks wherever it feels natural to begin to rock back and forth as you breathe and open up those hips. The toes on the back foot are released, so the top of the foot is on the mat. And each time you come forward, just come a little bit deeper. And this time we're going to hold. So just allow the hips to sink down toward the earth. You can have your hands forward out by that front foot, or if it's more comfortable, the hands can come back by your hips. So just find what works for you, but we're going to sit up nice and tall. Imagine you have a string coming out of the crown of your head, pulling your torso up and out of the pelvis as you let the hips and pelvis sink in toward the earth. Breathing here. On the next inhalation, we're going to rock the hips back and straighten the front leg. It's okay if the leg doesn't straighten all the way. If you have a little bit of a bend, that's no problem. But we're going to inchworm those toes forward to bring the front leg towards the front of the mat. So we're just scooching the toes, getting space between the foot and the back knee. And once you get a little bit more space there, we're going to lift the toes up and come onto the heel. So from here, the toes are reaching back towards the shin. The weight is on that back leg or back knee. And then we're just going to windshield wiper that leg back and forth, opening up that hamstring. You may find that it's most comfortable to have your blocks on the highest setting. And wherever you want to place them is fine. So we're just going to pause here and breathe. And it should be gentle. So you're probably feeling the sensation on the back of that leg and hamstring, but you definitely don't want to feel any tension. So just a nice gentle stretch, being easy and listening to your own body's requests. It's always good to feel sensation, but you never want to feel any pain. So if you feel like you're going too much, I invite you just to back off a little bit and bring a little more ease and softness into the pose. Good. We're going to go ahead and just lean back and pull that back leg all the way back to meet the right leg. And then we're going to switch sides. So all the weight goes into the left knee, right foot comes forward, and we're just going to start by doing that rocking motion again. So as you breathe, rocking back and forth, bending the front knee into that low lunge, and then straightening back, using the blocks however you need. And then one more time, coming forward, and we're going to hold here. Go ahead and lift the torso up. Crown of the head is going up toward the sky, placing the blocks at whatever level is most comfortable. And then we're going to breathe here as you allow the hips to sink down toward the earth. On your next inhalation, we're going to rock back. And then again, let's inchworm those toes forward, bringing that front foot closer to the front of the mat. And once you've got a little more length between the foot and the knee, go ahead and inhale. The toes come up, and now you're resting on the heel. Toes are reaching back towards the shin. Let's do a little bit of a windshield wiper here. So just back and forth, opening up the back of that leg. And then come into center. You may need to raise yourself up on the high end of the blocks. And just pause here. And again, come back to the breath and see if you can bring that feeling of softness. So this can be intense on the back of the thigh. And we want to be mindful that we're not overdoing it. We're just being nice and easy. Allowing the body to soften and open in its own timing. And then slowly we're going to release by pulling that leg back all the way. Now with the knees together, we're just going to sit back into that child's pose again. So hips come down towards the heels. And this time the arms are going to come back, wrapping around the thighs, back of the hands, resting on the mat. Forehead is resting on the mat or a block. And just come back to your breath. On your next inhalation, we're going to rock forward. Go ahead and move the block to the side. And we're going to come all the way onto the belly. So just go ahead and crawl your way forward. Hands are going to be right underneath your shoulders, and the elbows are going to be squeezed into the ribs. So neck is long here. You're going to press the ankles and the feet together, press the elbows into the rib cage, and then just begin to use your back muscles to lift the shoulders and head ever so slightly. Now the weight is off of the hands, so you could actually pick the hands up if you wanted to. All the work is in the back of the body. Breathing here, elongate through the spine, reaching the head forward, looking just out on the floor, just a few inches beyond the top of your mat. And then let's release. You can make a little pillow with your hands, stacking the right on top of the left, and turn your head to the side. Place the cheek on top of the hands, and then go ahead and bend the knees and windshield wiper those feet back and forth. Go ahead and release the feet back to the earth. We're going to come into it again. So let's start by squeezing the feet and ankles together and then pressing the tops of the feet into the earth. You're actually going to engage the thighs so that the kneecaps lift up off the floor. So there's a little space between the knees and the floor. That means your thighs, your quads are engaged. Squeezing the legs together. Let's bring those hands back under the shoulders. Squeeze the elbows into the rib cage and then just begin to lift. And now we're going to use the hands to press us up just a little bit higher. Breathing here, squeezing the shoulder blades back. Spine is long, head and neck are neutral. Squeezing the legs. And then release. Maybe bring the opposite cheek this time down to rest on the hands. And bending the knees and swinging the legs side to side. Good. Go ahead and relax the legs. We're going to press back into that tabletop. And for here, we're going to come into melting heart pose. This is a great pose to educate your body and muscles into how it feels to be in downward facing dog. So go ahead and stack the hips right above the knees. And then we're going to reach the hands out pretty far and just slide the hands forward as you begin to bring the head and chest down towards the mat. This is a very deep shoulder opening, so be gentle. Only go as far as feels comfortable for you. Arms should be straight or mostly straight if you can, if it's comfortable. And remembering to breathe as we open up the upper part of the body. And then slowly you're just going to come up, walk the hands back, press yourself all the way back just for a moment. And you can lift the hands up, do a few wrist rolls, a few circles of the wrists. And now we're going to come into downward facing dog. So remember what that felt like in your upper body. Come back onto hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes under. Hands are directly underneath the shoulders. And from here, keeping the knees bent, we're just going to lift the hips up. And then we're going to press back into that heart melting pose where the chest comes back toward the thighs. The arms come up by the ears. And then you can just very gently begin to straighten the legs, but you can keep a little bit of bend in the knees. Eventually, we'll walk the feet back and straighten the legs if you can maintain the upper body. You can pedal the heels a few times, pressing them down toward the earth. The hands are pressing forward as you push the hips back toward the back of the room, and there should be a little pillow of air underneath the heels. If your heels are touching the earth, it just means you need more space between the hands and the feet, so you can walk the feet back a little bit more until the heels are up off the earth. And then let's rock forward onto hands and knees and come back to child's pose. Release the arms. Tops of the hands are on the earth and forehead resting on the mat. On your next inhalation, we're going to come back into that tabletop and we're going to come back into downward facing dog. So go ahead and curl the toes under, press the hips up toward the sky, and then chest comes back towards the thighs. Nice long stretch in the upper body. And then you can begin to straighten the legs, walking the feet back away from the hands. And breathing here. And then we're going to slightly bend the knees and begin to walk the feet up toward the hands. Once you get close, you can lift the hands up. We're going to bring the feet underneath the hips and then just drop the torso over into a forward fold. You can cup your elbows with your hands and begin to slightly sway left to right, opening up the back of the body. And coming back to the breath, just enjoying a gentle, easy movement. Make sure the back of the neck is released and the crown of the head is pointing down toward the earth. Notice the different sensation of breathing in this position. Which is the opposite way that we normally breathe. We're doing a little bit of an upside down breath. When you're ready, you can release the hands, bend the knees, and slowly begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time, keeping the head and chin tucked all the way up, going slow. If you get lightheaded, just bend back down. At the top, we're going to roll the shoulders back and open. Head comes to neutral and the hands come to the heart center at Namaste. And just pause here for a moment. Notice the shift in what it feels like to be upright, standing. And from here, we're going to release the hands and going to inhale the arms up, sweeping the fingers up, interlace the fingers, point through the index and the thumb, elongate the entire torso, stretching the fingertips up toward the ceiling or the sky as high as you can. And then we're going to arch up and over into a nice side bend, pressing through the fingertips and pressing that opposite hip in the opposite direction. And then inhale through center, nice tall spine, up and over to the other side. Remembering to breathe. It's normal in this position to slightly hold the breath, but just be sure that you are encouraging the breath to move. Again, back up through center, nice tall spine, really lifting up and over, pressing those fingers away from you. Pressing the hip in the opposite direction, nice full stretch down the side of the body. And then again, up and over, breathing here. And then come back up to center, release the arms. You can do a little bit of wiggle there. And then we're just going to inhale, sweep the arms up. And then we're going to exhale, come all the way over back into a forward fold. Allow the crown of the head to sink down toward the earth. Again, you can cup the elbows. You can play with straightening one leg as you bend the opposite knee, noticing how that changes things. You can switch sides, straighten that leg and bend the other knee. Maybe you want to do that again on each side. Breathing through your nose. And then putting a slight bend in both knees, release the hands and rolling up one vertebrae at a time. All the way up. Once you're at the top, rolling the shoulders back. This time, open the hands to the front of the mat and just come into a nice mountain pose. So feel your feet on the earth. The feet should be directly underneath the hips and shoulders are aligned just above the hips. You can slightly press the back of the head back toward the back of your mat so that the ears align with the shoulders. Hands are active, like starfish, wide and open, and you're pressing the fingertips toward the floor as if you could just barely touch the floor with your fingertips. Chin is neutral, gaze is soft. Feel the power. Like a majestic mountain, nice and tall, strong. Connect to the earth and reaching into the sky. And then release the hands and relax. We're going to come into modified chair pose. So go ahead and bring those the feet underneath the hips. And then we're going to bring the arms directly out in front of you, palms of the hands facing down toward the earth. And we're just going to begin to bend the knees. And when you feel that place where it feels like you're not able to go any deeper, usually that has to do with the flexibility of the ankles. So once you reach that point where you're starting to get a stretch in the ankles, then begin to shift the hips back toward the back of your mat as you reach the arms forward. Imagine you're trying to reach for a bench behind you that's just an inch or two further back, reaching through the hands and the hips. Keeping all four corners of your feet on the mat, but a lot of the weight will be in the heels. Bring your attention back to the breath and find a focal point with your gaze as you feel the power of this pose building. If you want to intensify it, you can sink the hips even deeper as you press the arms even more forward. And then release into a forward fold. Good, go ahead and place the fingertips on your mat if the hands reach the mat. And the fingertips are right in alignment with your toes. And you have all 10 fingers and all 10 toes pointing forward, and use those fingertips to just press you a little bit deeper over those thighs, bringing the belly toward the thighs. Breathing here through the nose. Back of the neck is released and relaxed. Good, bend the knees. We're going to roll up, all the way up. And then just pause here for a moment. And we're going to come back into that chair pose. So arms come out, begin to sink down, hips shift back. So you're pressing the fingers forward, pressing the hips and tailbone back as you sink down. Coming back to the breath. And back to that focal point. If you want to increase the challenge of the upper body, you can turn the palms toward each other and begin to lift the hands up toward the sky. Reaching up as far as the arms will go, really engaging the back of the upper back and the muscles of the back. This is great for your posture. And then we're just going to release the hands and stand up. Good. Okay. We're going to come into a balancing pose. So go ahead and just place the right foot on the mat out in front of you, and then lean onto that right foot, bringing most of the weight onto the right leg. Send your roots through your feet down into the earth to get a nice stable base. Hips are pointing forward. And from here, we're going to open the hands like wings, palms facing forward. And then one long line from the top of the head all the way down to the toes. We're going to begin to hinge at the hips as we tip forward. Now you can keep those toes on the mat or just play with lifting them an inch or two. There can be a slight bend in the standing leg. And just notice little wiggles as your body's training its balance. It helps to find a focal point for your gaze. And come back up. Good, you can release that leg. I like to roll over my toes after I do standing poses. And let's just turn around and face the other side. We're going to bring the left foot out in front, Shift your weight onto that left foot, send your roots down into the earth, hands come open like wings, and then we're just going to play with hinging at the hips, tipping forward, and lifting those toes slightly off the earth. You don't need to go very far to build that stability and that balance. If you come out of the pose, you can just come right back into it, finding a focal point for your gaze and bringing your attention to the breath. Good, release. Nice. Let's do each side one more time. So let's come back onto that right foot, open your wings, slight bend in that standing leg, send the roots down, and begin to tip forward. And eventually in time, you may find that you're able to go even deeper. But there's no finish line. There's no actual goal point. There's just slowly working with what your body is ready for and what feels good. Let's release that. You can roll over those toes if you like, and we'll come back into the left side. Go ahead and plant the foot, send the roots down, open your wings, and begin to fly. Back leg begins to hover above the floor, or you may feel to tip a little bit deeper. As your practice continues, you'll begin to find those places where your body wants to go. It will guide you exactly what you need. That wisdom is there if we're able to listen. Good, we'll release. Inhale the arms up, nice big stretch, even a slight arch back, look up. And then we're going to exhale, diving forward, out and down over those legs, into a forward fold. Again, placing the fingertips right in alignment with the toes and using the hands to encourage just a deeper forward fold. Back of the neck is relaxed. Breathing here. And then we're going to go ahead and bend the knees. Come down onto hands and knees, and then we're just going to roll to the side and come into a seated position. Bring the hands behind you for support, legs come out in front, and then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, and we're going to bring those heels in as close to your hips as possible. So you can pull the feet into the hips, or you can scoot your hips forward to meet your feet, using your hands behind you to hold you up and stabilize. It's fine to lock the elbows, or you can keep them bent, whatever's most comfortable. And then just sit nice and tall in the spine. Crown of the head goes up toward the sky. Coming into butterfly, allowing the thighs to totally relax as the feet press together. And eventually you may feel like bringing the hands out into the front. If you do, go ahead and walk the fingers up the mat, up toward the top of the mat. And once you get about as far forward as you're going to go ahead and release the upper back and the heads and the head, and allow the elbows to bend so that everything is just totally loose. Allowing the weight of the head and the shoulders to draw you even deeper over those thighs. Opening the inner thighs and coming back to the breath. Noticing if your jaw is relaxed, the toes are relaxed. Just feeling the breath coming in through the nostrils. You can even send the breath into those inner thighs, allowing them to relax and soften. As the body becomes more still, just notice what happens with the mind. See if it's still here in the room with your body. And if it's gone elsewhere, just encourage it to come back with the breath, connecting the mind with the body through the breath. Slowly, we're going to begin to walk the hands back, coming up, right, and then go ahead and bring the hands behind you to take the weight off of those legs so that you can stretch the legs out long and do a little bit of a wiggle side to side. You can do a little ankle roll if that feels good. Crunch the toes and spread them open and just feel into the legs. But from here, you may need to move yourself forward so that the feet are close to the edge of the mat. We're just going to come down onto the elbows and then slowly roll the spine as you slip the hands down. We're going to come all the way onto the back. From here, we're going to move into reclined pigeon. So go ahead and bend the right knee, placing the right sole of the foot on the earth. And then lift the left leg. We're going to bend the left knee. And we're going to bring the left ankle bone just below the knee on the right leg. So you're making kind of a figure four. And be mindful that you're not putting any pressure on your joints. So we're not putting the ankle on the thigh, but the bone just above the ankle. And then we're not placing it on the kneecap, but just below the kneecap on the thigh. So once you're there, go ahead and flex the left foot so that the toes are coming back towards the shin. And then you're going to draw that entire shape toward the belly, reaching through the hole with one hand and around the back of the thigh. Or if you're able, you can even reach around the shin, clasping the fingers to hold yourself here in this stretch and come back to the breath. And notice if you're gripping anywhere unnecessarily. Sometimes we can be holding tension in the back of the neck or the shoulders or the jaw. So just see what really is required to hold you in this position and then let everything else go. And then come back to the breath. Even sending the breath into the places where you feel sensation, encouraging the hip to soften and release. Using the breath to keep the mind here, present with the body. Really creating that union, mind, body, and breath. Instead of seeing them as three separate things, notice how they're all interconnected. And ultimately, they're one thing. The breath is connected to the body, and the mind and the consciousness is with the breath and the body, all together in harmony. may find as that hip is opening, there's just a gentle deepening of the pose. It's happening naturally. And then very gently and slowly, we're going to release. Careful not to slingshot the legs. And go ahead and just allow both legs to come back to the mat and stretch out long. You can do a little windshield wiper with the feet, a little wiggle, and then become still and feel the difference between both legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to bend the left knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the earth, lifting the right leg up, bending the right knee, and bringing again that ankle bone just below the kneecap, below the knee joint, on top of the left thigh, creating that figure 4 shape. You're going to flex the toes on the right foot back towards the shin. And then you're going to inhale that entire shape up toward the torso, reaching through, clasping your fingers either behind the thigh or around the shin. And then coming into that place where you're connected with the breath and using the breath to direct it into the hip to allow all the tissues and muscles and joints to soften and release. Maybe taking an extra deep breath, really filling the lungs all the way. And on the exhale, allowing yourself to release a little more. Just watching the breath as it enters the nose and goes down into the body. And this side may feel different than the other side. It's normal. As we move through life, we don't tend to do things evenly. If we're right-handed, we tend to do certain things with the right side of the body more than the left. We also tend to have a dominant foot and leg. So this makes things in the body just a little bit asymmetrical, which is normal. Very slowly, easily release the legs. And again, you can allow them to stretch out long on the mat, give a little wiggle, and then feel into both sides. Good. From here, we're going to come into a spinal twist. The way we're going to move into it is we're going to place the soles of the feet on the earth. We're going to inhale and lift the hips just a couple inches and shift them over to the right and set them back down on the mat. Then you're going to inhale the legs in toward the torso and allow them to fall over to the left. It's fine if they don't reach all the way to the ground. But just go ahead and place the left hand on top of the right knee. And then we're going to open the right arm up to the side in a T, palm facing up, and look over the right shoulder. And it's fine if the right shoulder is hovering above the ground. Just see where you can release and relax into the spinal twist, letting go of everything that's not needed, bringing yourself back to the breath and into a still space. You can do a little scan through the body, seeing if you're tightening any muscles that aren't required, and just let them go. Letting the jaw go, releasing the shoulders, the hips, the feet, the ankles. Maybe deepening the next inhalation, just allowing the ribs to expand. And on the exhalation, melting just a little bit deeper into the twist. And again, notice where the mind is. If the thoughts have wandered, just bring them back to the breath, back to your body. And gently remove the hand from the knee and allow the right knee to lift up, and be very gentle, allowing the left leg to follow. And then go ahead and center yourself on the mat and just feel into both sides of the body. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale the hips, lift them up, shift them over to the left and set them down on the exhale. And then on the inhale, the legs come in toward the torso and then gently off to the right. You can place your right hand on top of the left knee, and then we're going to open the left arm out to the side, palm facing up. It's fine if the shoulder is hovering. And we're going to look over the left shoulder. So you're getting a nice twist all the way from the base of the spine, all the way up to the base of the head. And from here, we'll come back to the breath. You can have eyes opened or closed, just coming into an easy place. And again, do a little scan through the body to see if you're holding on, flexing any muscles that aren't required. Just let them go. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. Just releasing and surrendering into the twist. The eyes can be opened or closed. The breath is soft. You may want to take a nice deep inhale, filling the lungs completely, and on the exhale, melting just a little bit deeper. Go ahead and release the hand from the top of the knee. And we're going to very gently inhale the left leg up, allow the right leg to follow. And you can squeeze the knees in if you like, just releasing the back and the spine. Then go ahead and bring the feet to the earth and just recenter yourself on the mat. We're going to be coming into the final resting pose. So see if there's anything that you feel that you want to move or adjust. You may want to put a little pillow underneath your head or a blanket over the body. You can allow the knees to soften, legs go long. Go ahead and separate the feet pretty wide, maybe about as wide as your mat. Turn the palms up towards the sky and then kind of press into the back of the head as you wiggle and tuck those shoulder blades under. Just opening the front of the chest. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling the lungs completely. Then we're going to open the mouth and sigh on the exhale. Again, deep breath in through the nose, filling the lungs. And one more time. This time, really open the jaw wide, nice and open as you exhale. And you can move the jaw side to side, even encourage a yawn. Sometimes faking a yawn can trigger a true yawn. So just really open the mouth, move the tongue around, see if you can get a yawn. And then just let go. Feeling the effects of your practice. And then letting everything go. Letting your body go. Letting your mind go. Letting the breath go. Just be. And feel the weight of your body as it sinks into the earth. Allowing the feet, the toes, the ankles to relax. Relaxing the calves and the shins, softening the knees. Releasing the thighs, the buttocks, allowing the hips to sink even more. All of your internal organs are soft and relaxed, at peace. The belly's relaxed. Take a nice deep breath in, filling the lungs. And then exhale, allowing the chest to relax. The collarbone, the shoulders, the upper back. And softening into the earth. Allowing the arms to become heavy. Releasing the elbows, wrists and hands, fingers, just soft. Allowing the neck to release, the weight of the head sinking even deeper. Releasing the jaw, the slight separation between the teeth. The forehead and the eyes relax, and the top of the head. Just allow yourself to become no body. Being no one. Just floating in nothing. Nowhere. No time. Just pure consciousness in the vastness of space. Aware that you are aware. Slowly coming back into the room, into your body, beginning to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe take a nice deep breath in. You can even stretch the arms above the head if you like, stretching the legs out long. And then we're going to roll over onto whatever side feels most comfortable and most natural, and pause there for just a breath or two. Just taking your time to allow all the practice to settle in, to integrate. And then slowly pressing your way up to a comfortable seated position. If you like, you can use that block again underneath the hips. Just lean forward, slip it back there, and just come up nice and comfortable. You can place your hands on your knees, do a little movement through the shoulders, just like we started, sitting nice and tall. Bring the hands to heart center here, just sealing in your practice.